Hi everyone, welcome to the world of English with Sakshi Khanna once again. Today this session is specially designed for the 12th and we are doing Vista, the supplementary reader of yours, and the first chapter is our target today, that is the third level. First of all, I just want you people to get your pen and notebooks because you need to pen down all the difficult words hard to understand with the explanation. Second important thing, the theme, the plot of the story and the summary. So without reading, without writing, you will not understand anything. I will also read with you people, but as we are doing in the virtual classroom, so these things are mandatory for you to understand when we are talking about our academic syllabus of NCERT, which is very important. So please, I'm requesting you get your notebooks, your final notebooks and your pens. So shall we move on? Yes. First of all, I just want to give you the overview of the chapter, the third level book, Vista, that is your supplementary reader of 12th grade NCERT norms. So this chapter is all about the time travel. If you could travel through time and visit any period of history, where would you go? It's a question for you. I'm repeating the question. If you could travel through time and visit any period of history, where would you prefer to go? If it will be asked to me, then I will prefer to go during the period of Akbar, because I really very impressed with the personality, how Akbar dealt with the situation, random situation when Englishmen were also in our country to take over the charge, and that period I really wanted to know. So maybe you would stand on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial while Martin Luther King delivers his I Have a Dream speech. Perhaps you would choose to attend the first World Series game between the Boston Americans and the Pittsburgh Pirates. You might even opt to go back to 1969 and watch the first American land on the moon. But it is purely up to you. Yes, for the man, if we talk about the chapter that is third level, if literally we get the meaning, it is about some digit, that is third digit. Level is the standard, okay? Level, maybe the ground, okay? The level, the standard that we will consider after reading the chapter. But here for the man at the center of the third level, a short story by Jack Finney. He knows what he would pick. Galesburg, Illinois, 1894. He opted Galesburg, Illinois, 1894 time era. That's odd. Yes, of course, odd. Why would someone select that particular date and place? This is we are going to read in the chapter. The main character Charlie tries to travel through time after finding the mysterious third level at Grand Central Station, New York, USA. Explanation, it's all about the plot of the story. Okay, you need to pen down with the simple illustration manner we can't give you because I'm not in the traditional classroom. So here you will just write in the way I have put the plot of the story. The first explanation point, the third level at Grand Central Station. Grand Central Station at New York, the famous point. Grand Central Station of New York has two levels. Levels means the floor. But Charlie, a 31-year-old dweller of the city, talks about there being three. Not only does he believe in the existence of this hypothetical third level, but also claims to have been there. Third level was not available, okay, but it was in the imagination. So you understood till time that it is all about the imagination of third level, third floor of the station, which doesn't exist even, but it existed in the mind of Charlie, the main character of the story. Second main heading in our plot, that is a visit to his psychiatrist friend. When he goes to third level, he finds the working, the operating of the trains, everything as same as in the ground floor, means the first level and the second level of the station. But the time zone was changed. It was all about 18s, late 18s era. Okay, so he visited his friend who is psychiatrist. Let us see. Charlie visits a psychiatrist friend to talk about this problem. The psychiatrist calls it a walking dream. Means we are watching, we are observing something with subconscious mind, but we are not sleeping even. So this is a situation which is called as walking dream. So sorry, the waking dream, it's not walking. So waking dream, it can be asked in the question answer. Waking dream, wish fulfillment. And rationalize Charlie's psychology by saying that the modern world is full of insecurity, fear, worry and war. Yes, indeed, true statement. What is in the modern world and what was in the ancient world, making so wonderful to live because it was peaceful, but here there is no peace. Modern world is full of insecurity. We are insecure all the time. We have fear. We have lot of worries. Always war on our head, and everybody wants to escape to some temporary refuge from reality. According to him, even hobbies like stamp collection is a manifestation of this escape. So visit to his psychiatrist friend, the second plot of the story. Charlie loses his way at Grand Central, the fast growing Grand Central station. Lot of hustle bustle, lot of crowd. Okay, no one has time even to glance someone. So the fast growing Grand Central station at times seems to be a maze to Charlie. He had lost his way a couple of times. Many a times he lost his way because of the great hustle bustle earlier to while taking the subway. Once he entered the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel, while the other time he emerged at an office building. So these were the confusion, okay, where he visited. Instead of going to the right path, he just perplexed and visited the Roosevelt Hotel lobby and where the office building, which was not supposed to visit. But this time when he loses his way, something very unique happens. And third time when he lost his way, he reached to some unique place, and that was the third level. He visits the third level where the time was changed, time zone was changed, place was also changed, means modern to ancient. First and second level were modern era which were existing, but the third level in his mind only. Exactly, now what is the third level? We will read it. Charlie keeps walking in the quiet corridor, angling left and slanting downward, till he reaches an architecturally old station that is completely different from the two familiar levels. Two familiar levels were in the same architectural form, but the third level was totally different, something ancient. The antiquated small room with fewer ticket counters and train gates, a wooden information booth, flickering open flame gas lights and brass pitons where the baskets to use for the spitting. Open flame gas lights and brass pitons reminds him of the architecture of the 1800th century. Okay, he also finds that people are dressed in outmoded outfits. Definitely 19th, 18th, totally different. 19th to 20th, if we talk, then also different. 20th to 21st century, we will talk, lot of difference. So he notices that the date on the newspaper, the world is printed June 11, 1894. So this was the year he is talking about. As he tenders money to the clerk at the counter, buy 2 tickets. He realizes that he need to have old currency bills to do so. Old currency bills was required. If we talk about today's current situation, which currency we are using today, but if 50 years old, it's totally different. Okay, so it happened with him the same. 1894 he was buying the tickets for 2 and the currency was not appropriate. Fine, because he had modern currency, but he was purchasing the ticket in 18th century in the mind only. Okay, in his illusion, in his imagination. This is all about. Our fourth major point to be discussed here, that is Charlie's plan for a journey not realized. He had always wanted to travel to Galesburg with his wife, Lucia. Lucia is wife name. In his mind, it is a wonderful town still. Why he wanted to visit Galsburg? Because he wanted to visit Galsburg because of his beauty. Wonderful town hill with big old frame houses, huge lawns, tremendous trees. It's a place with long and pleasant summer evenings and where people have ample of time. Ample means lot of time. So the next day during lunch, he exchanges $300 for old style bills amounting to some 200 only. So whatever he had bank balance of almost $300, he went to the bank to get replaced by the old currency and he received $200 in return. The loss doesn't bother him. Loss of $100, it doesn't bother him much as he believes that Galsburg everything will be cheaper and that he can manage even with a small amount because he is talking about previous century and there the difference was in amount as well, but he could never again find the corridor leading to the third level, but he could never find the way to go to third level, the pathway to third level which he got that day. Sam goes missing. Next point. His wife Lucia is worried after knowing all this and asks him not to look for the third level any further. Suddenly, Charlie realizes that his friend Sam Weiner is nowhere to be found, so he and his wife keep looking for him in the weekends. Sam was one with whom Charlie used to share his ideas about Galsburg. So Sam was his friend with whom he always shares about Galsburg. Galsburg is kind of dream destination. You must be having some dream destination where you want to be, maybe Switzerland, Canada, America. Okay, everyone has such type of fantasy. So that fantasy took the illusion converted into reality and he was observing such things in reality. That is why it is considered as waking dream. Philately and the first day covers. Philately is not just stamp collection but a broad term including the study of stamps, postal history and other related items. You know that stamps are the biggest source to talk about the history, to search about the history of that particular time zone. When a new stamp is issued on the first day, people mail a blank paper to themselves and then retain that unopened letter with the date on the postmarks. This is a hobby of the people who has great passion about the new stamps. What they do generally, they take new stamp and one envelope and they post themselves only when it is stamped by the government and they get the postmark, keep it safely in their collection. So Charlie has inherited the hobby and the collection from his grandfather. So he also had the same hobby which his grandfather had, collection of the stamps. So a letter from Sam. One day while fidgeting with his stamp collection, Charlie comes across a letter. He was searching, just checking all the old letters, across a letter that was not there earlier. It bears the postmark on a faded 6-cent stamp, which with a picture of the President Garfield. The envelope was sent on July 18, 1894 to Charlie grandfather in Galsburg and is addressed to Charlie. The letter reads that Sam has reached Galsburg and is having whale of a time there. He also invites Charlie and Lucia to Galsburg. When Charlie goes to the stamp and coin store, he is apprised of Sam's exchanging $800 for the old currency bills to establish his business of hay feed and grain in Galsburg. The letter was written by Sam Weiner, who was Charlie's psychiatrist, the friend. So don't get confused. This is just an overview to you people with all the headings which we will discover later in the summary, explanation. Now, talking about the third level summary, class 12. This is the detailed summary which you need to understand with me. Summary of the third level. I just make it little broad for you people so that you will understand properly. before we move to the story explanation in detail, I just want to give you the hard words which you need to understand before we go through reading. Because through reading, when you will counterpart these words, then you will understand because you know the meaning. Then you move on. So claimed is the first word. Claim, state or assert that something is the case, typically without providing evidence or proof. Someone claim you that you haven't done this work but without any evidence. That is claim. Refuge, the state of being safe or sheltered. You are unsafe and taking shelter somewhere from persuade, danger or difficulty. And definitely when you are under shelter of someone else's place, then you are in the trouble. Arc, constructed with or in the form of an arc or arches, that round shape construction. Semicircle, bumping, knock or run into someone or something with a jolt, with great pressure, okay, when we bump. Psychiatrist, a medical practitioner specializing in the diagnosis and treatment of mental illness. You all know. Angling, the sport or pastime of fishing with a rod and line. You all know. Flickering, make small, quick movements. Flickering, small and quick movements. Moving next, snapped, break suddenly and completely, typically with a sharp cracking sound. Snap, snapshots, snapping sound, okay, like this. So break suddenly and completely, typically with a sharp cracking sound. Glance, take a brief or hurried look. Fussing, show unnecessary or excessive concern about something. Premium, an amount to be paid for a contract of insurance. An amount to be paid for a contract of insurance. You can ask to your parents about the premium. They all must be doing these all things. Tremendous, very great in amount, scale or intensity. It is a synonym of large, big. Frowned, furrow one's brows in an expression indicating disapproval, displeasure or concentration. When we talk to our parents, we ask permission for going out little late and our parents just give their eyebrows little up to show disapproval. That is known as frown movement. Glen, give out or reflect small flashes of light. Some more hard words here. Insecurity, refuge, you all done. Ducked into, to plunge. Arced, you know, hollow, not filled for having an empty space. Booth, a small stall, here like the ticket counter. Flickering, short, uncertain way of burning. Glint, shine brightly with a short flash of light. Arced, hollow, booth, flickering, glint, sight, stacked, piled into heap. Stacked, glance, quick look. Here we go with the story, technically, explanation, the third level by Jack Finney. Discussion of background, information and the vocabulary. Everything will be covered in this slide here. Setting of the story, that is Grand Central Station in New York. Grand Central Station officially opened on February 2, 1913. So it celebrated its 100th birthday this year as well. In 1908, the excavation of Grand Central Station began in New York City. This is a view of the balcony in Grand Central Station taken between 1913 and 1930. This is where the Apple Store is located today. This is a view of one of the many arced corridors we talked about a lot, okay, in the plot of the story. Arced means such type of construction in Grand Central Station taken in 1912. The main character Charlie walked down one of these corridors on his way to the third level. To the third level, he enters such kind of corridor. Another arc corridor, the man in the black clothes is wearing a derby hat. The man who is entering, Charlie. In the background to the left, you see more corridors and arcs. On the right, you see the old ticket station. An interesting feature of this picture is the ghostly feel of the people. It was taken in 1912. The picture was taken in 1919 and it is an outside view of the terminal from Vanderbilt Avenue and 42nd Street. This is where Charlie entered the station in the story. The 20th Century Limited was an express passenger train that ran between Grand Central Terminal and Leslie Street Station in Chicago. It was operated by the New York Central Railroad from 1902 until 1967. Metro North commuter arrived at New York's Grand Terminal on January 11, 1996. The clock above the Grand Central Terminal information booth still ticks off the time 100 years after it was built. The world's largest terminal covers 49 acres, 33 miles of track. Over 7 lakhs people pass through the terminal every day and it operates over 700 trains per day. Members of the National Guard watch commuter as they walk through the main concourse on January 25, 2013. The images on the ceiling of the main concourse depict the constellation and are made of gold leaf. Now this photo shows construction of a new line that will open connecting the Long Island Road with the new concourse underneath Grand Central Terminal. Vocabulary for the third level. Some words we have used in this chapter. I have explained you maximum, but let's see. Psychiatrist, you all know. Arc, you all know its adjective. The arc doorway. Look at the picture. These all are art construction. Spittoons, jar-like container into which people would spit. Derby hat, old-fashioned hat used by men in the past. Derby hats were considered very fashionable in the beginning of the 20th century. Leg of mutton sleeves. Sleeves that puff out towards the shoulder. A leg of mutton sleeve needs a lot fabric to make. Currency. Today's currency is different from what was used in the past. It's all related about the money. Premium, I explained you. So these all are word meanings including the images which will explain the Grand Central Railway Station, which was the main location where the story was revolving. Okay, so I hope you would understand what we are talking about in the next series of the explanation, that is detailed. Here we go with the summary of the third level word to word explanation. The third level, it is a story about a 31-year-old man named Charlie. Beside this is a psychological story that refers to the subway at the Grand Central Railway Station, which takes passenger to Galesburg. In addition, this subway becomes the interconnection between the narrator's harsh reality and fantasy of staying at Galesburg. Moreover, the third level was a way of escape for Charlie, as life in the modern world is full of uncertainties, worries, and stress. It takes Charlie to a different world that his friend also calls a walking dream with fulfillment. Walking dream with fulfillment. Further, the story is about Charlie's tendency to escape from the world. Most importantly, what I just want to explain you here, that he wanted to escape from the uncertain world, that is today modern world, and he wanted to go to the ancient time where people were living with peace of mind, less of the resources but lot of peace in the mind. That is why he wanted to escape from today's time. As if we talk you people that where you want to live, previous time you are talking much importantly because you like that. Now you are just frustrated with the modern way of living. That's why it happened same with Charlie. So Galesburg, living at Galesburg without any worries and stress was his fantasy. So he mixed the fantasy with reality, and he reached to the third level, which doesn't exist even. To escape from the world. Most importantly, the third level starts because of Sam's letter written on 18 July 1984. The story shows the connection between time and space. In New York, the Grand Central Station has two levels, which were existed as well in reality. Nonetheless, Charlie, a 31-year-old city resident, talks that there exists a third level as well, which only exists for him in his mind, but not in reality. Also, he claims that he has been there. He claimed also that he was there, but there is no proof, there is no evidence he could produce. To talk about this problem, he visits a psychiatrist friend. He calls it a walking dream wish fulfillment. He just considered and diagnosed him with the mental illness of walking dream with fulfillment, and explains Charlie psychology by saying that the modern world is full of fear, insecurity, war and worry. So you are looking just to escape from this world, and everybody wants to escape to some temporary refuge from reality. As for him, hobbies like stamp collection is an indicator of this escape. At times, the Grand Central Station seems like a maze to Charlie. While taking the subway earlier, he had lost his way a couple of times. Two times he lost his way. One time he entered the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel, while the other time he appeared at an office building that was 3 blocks away. However, this time he loses his way and something unique occurs. Charlie visits the third floor. In the silent hallway, now this is explanation of third level. In the silent hallway, Charlie keeps walking, turning left and sloping downward until he touches an architecturally old station, which is totally different from the two familiar levels. Of course, undoubtedly, it would be different because if we are talking about previous centuries, construction design, totally different today's world. Moreover, this old small room with fewer ticket counters and train gates, a wooden information booth, wavering open flame, gas lights and brass spittoons, all this remind him of the architecture of the 18th century. Further, he sees people in outdated outfits. Definitely, when he noticed the date in the newspaper, he purchased the newspaper as well, and the date was different. The world he sees 11 June 1894. When he tries to buy 2 tickets, he realizes that he needs old currency. He always wanted to travel to Galsburg with his wife Lucia. Back in his head, it is a wonderful town still, with big old frame houses, huge lawns and tremendous tree. So question can be asked here that why he wanted to go to Galsburg. There are two reasons behind: the nature and second thing, peaceful life. The place has pleasant and long summer dusk and where people have ample of time. Hence, the next day, during lunch, he exchanges $300 for old currency amounting to some 200 only. In addition, the amount doesn't bother him as he believes that everything there will be cheaper. However, he could never again find the corridor that leads him to the third level. He was ready to bear the loss of $100 in exchange offer because he thought that he will never get in the life the same pathway to third level where he wanted to go desirously. When her wife came to know about this, she asked him to stop looking. Unexpectedly, his friend Sam Winner also disappear and his wife keeps on looking for him for in the weekends. Moreover, Sam was the one whom Charlie shares his idea about Galsburg all the time. So Charlie inherited the hobby of stamp collection from his grandfather, and someday while looking at the stamp collection, he was just looking at the stamp collection, Charlie finds a letter that was earlier not there. Also, it has the postmark on a faded 6-cent stamp with a picture of President Garfield. Further, the envelope read as 18 July 1894, the same day which he found on the newspaper. Charlie's grandfather in Galsburg, and it addresses Charlie. In the letter, Sam tells Charlie that he has reached Galsburg and he invites Charlie and Lucia there. After going to stamp and coin shop, he gets to know that Sam exchanged $800 for old currency bills to establish his business in Galsburg. Besides, Sam was none other than Charlie's psychiatrist. So here the conclusion of third level summary. Through the third level, the writer wants to escape from the modern world to peaceful and quiet old time. Before I sign you off, I just want to explain about today's session. Tomorrow we will come with the question answers and word to word reading with the book. So you are requested to get your book before my session, before opening the video. Okay, today's session we have done the plot of the story. The main character we have talked about. Difficult words means hard word to understand, and the overall summary plus the location explanation in detail. Okay, tomorrow we will focus over the word to word summary explanation, word to word explanation from the book plus the question answers. So please take seriously, now the sessions are academic based. Please don't lag behind in your NCERT syllabus. Once I have done with you the third level, it will not be repeated. Okay, so please be mindful and do your work by head and heart. Okay, see you tomorrow with next session. Till the time, stay safe, stay protected. Goodbye.